Like, you have all of these folks who they were good little soldiers, and they carried this narrative as best as they could throughout the 4 years of the pandemic. And then we are where we are today. We got RFK Jr. Waiting to get anointed as HHS head. You have Nicole Shanahan having one of the biggest platforms I've ever seen from someone go from, ex-wife of a Google exec to all of a sudden leading the Make America Healthy movement. I see over on your background there, you got Air, Water, Healing, and also the Make America Healthy Again movement logo. Like, there it is, right? So you see where we were 10 years prior, right, Mike, to where we are today. Night and day, because now we're able to talk about this stuff. So the fact that we can even talk about this stuff is huge. And then you take another step forward, and let's talk about the institutions that were supposed to allow us to communicate freely about this stuff. They were putting the ban hammer, right? My Facebook account with over like 70,000 people got nuked. And I'm like, okay, my YouTube channel demonetized, been demonetized for 5 years. I just have shows on YouTube at this point just to reach more folks. I'm not expecting to get paid from YouTube anytime soon because my content doesn't go in lockstep with Anthony Fauci. My content doesn't go lockstep with folks like Deborah Birx or Rochelle Walensky, or you go through all the folks who are way smarter than me because they are the science, right, Mike? So where we are today, though, now Facebook saying, hey, no more fact checkers. X, formerly Twitter, hey, we were in trouble because we used to do a lot with government, and we're taking a step back, and we're getting rid of the fact checkers. We're getting rid of this community standards and going to community notes, right? So you're seeing there's a big change. My question after that big monologue there, Michael, is it enough? Have we pushed the envelope and started to open up a lot of these, these closets that were hiding all the skeletons? Are we at the point now where you can go talk to your average person about this stuff, and instead of getting hit with, that's a conspiracy, that's bonkers talk, to now saying, tell me more?
Yes, 100%, unequivocally. What happened is Jesus intervened. Jesus was able to go out and bring forth the people that were able to unlift this veil, right? What you saw happen was 15 years ago, you couldn't walk up to the average person and talk to them about 9/11, right? You couldn't even ask them, hey, do you find it odd that a passport jumped out of a burning plane and out of the metal tin can and the building itself? It incinerated everything in its path. But this dude's passport, clearly legible. You could even see his date of birth on it. Like, that popped out. You couldn't have that conversation with somebody 15 to 20 years ago randomly on the street. Now you've got the biggest bullhorn in the world in Joe Rogan, who said it perfectly. He proved that COVID, what they wanted it to be, it ended up becoming the mass awakening. Yep. Joe Rogan said literally on live television, he goes, before COVID, I would have told you that vaccines were safe and they were good and it was a good thing. He goes, after COVID, I don't think we landed on the moon. Because it shows how much the government has lied. Yep. I think people, like, anywhere you go now, like, I had a random person the other day that I was talking to. I was literally picking up a smoothie, and the guy was saying to me, he goes, I don't listen to anything on the news. He goes, it's all owned by BlackRock. He goes, they own everything. He goes, the same person that feeds you is the same person that treats you. It's the same person that tells you where to pay. He goes, they own the credit card processing. They own the internet. And this is like an 80-year-old dude. And I'm like, dude, I was like, what? How do you know about that? He goes, my grandson learned it all on TikTok. He goes, he went down a rabbit hole. He goes, I don't trust nobody. He goes, other than my preacher. I was like, you trust him that much? He goes, yeah. He goes, he's also my my wife's my daughter's husband. I go, so your son-in-law? He goes, yeah. I guess I gotta trust him. But I think that what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to give encouragement, right? We are there. We have to keep pressing the issue. You've got Mark Zuckerberg, right? You got the suck himself. Mark Zuckerberg is out there on an apology tour. He's out there apologizing to people. Hey, I'm so sorry. You're right. We had no need. We were just fact checking, and we were biased. We weren't allowing this information. the people are starting to wake up, and people are starting to understand how powerful it is when we stand together. Because when we all stand together, I promise you the gig is up. The gig is up. When everybody stands up and says, I am going to demand better from my manufacturers, of the people that, you know, manufacture my food. I'm going to demand that we start policies that prohibit weather modification unless they can unequivocally show to me that it's safe and it will not hurt. Let's just go back to the way that God created the earth to begin in the first place. I really, truly do believe that there has been enough that's done, but it will very easily be taken away if we don't continue to push forward. We cannot become comfortable. We have to continue these podcasts, what you're doing, the podcast that I'm doing. We have to continue to go out there and enlighten people, because there's still a bunch of people that are asleep. I'm not sitting here telling you that it's all just, you know, rainbows and butterflies. I just think that there's enough people now that we can have these conversations and we can join them to the movement, right?